All right, what up, guys? We're gonna kick it here on NBA on a Bleacher Report article. I like to do these once every, I don't know, 10 videos, something like that. Um, Scrolling across, this one kind of intrigued me. There's always a lot of ones I like to hop on when it comes to Bleacher Report articles and authors, pretty much talking about trade proposals, especially coming into the next season. So the Lakers won the chip. 2020 season is off the books, and now we're focusing into the off season and any potential changes and switch ups for franchises in 2021. Now, like I've stated before, the 2020 free agency class is whack. The only quote unquote star players that are highlighted um, are Anthony Davis, DeMar DeRozan, and then basically after that, you have like Fred VanVleet, Serge Ibaka, Marcus Saul. Uh, who else we got there? Danilo Gallinari, etc., etc. So it's gonna be very whack. And my point and purpose to say that is to say these core teams and franchises are going to stay the same. There's not going to be any big shakeups or moves that pretty much will determine a title favorite for a certain franchise. So in the Western Conference, the top of the gun is going to stay the same as the Lakers, Clippers, or the Warriors. People can throw out the Nuggets, Rockets, Jazz, Blazers, other teams like that. I'm not buying that. But in the Eastern Conference, you're going to have uh, it's going to be interesting in the East next season. Definitely the Brooklyn Nets should be highlighted. You're going to have the Miami Heat, the Milwaukee Bucks. I think the Toronto Raptors are going to take a big drop off. I think Serge Ibaka and Marcus Gasol are not going to re-sign. They already had their little championship experience. I see those cats leaving. I think, and Marcus Gasol stated he wants to play back Euroball. And I can see Serge Ibaka chase the bag somewhere else. Fran VanVleet, I don't know if he'll stay or not. Ideally, I would believe he would stay, but I think he's the cat, to where, if a team like New York, Detroit throws him around $18 million, I mean, he would take that. And I think Toronto may want to go in a rebuilding stage, but there's other teams in the Eastern Conference, the Celtics, 76ers, so these franchises are not going to, switch up the main core of their team. So there's a couple of trade proposals that could kind of make some good changes. Kind of the key guys that are highlighted in rumors are Chris Paul, of course, Victor Oladipo, Bradley Beal. Those are kind of the three main cats. I'm forgetting a couple other names. I mean, you also have like like a Kevin Love up in there. Kind of like Drew Holiday, some of those cats as well. But let's kind of jump into this article and see what we can kind of mix of things. Let's see here. So yada yada yada. All right, and just like I was saying before, Bradley Beal. So this is kind of with Bradley Beal. There's a couple of trade rumors that he could have gone to the Miami Heat before they got to the finals. I doubt that's not going to be in the play anymore. A couple of trade destinations for him could be, again, like the Denver Nuggets here, the Los Angeles Lakers, if they're trying to make that big three. The New Orleans Pelicans, they've been thrown around. I don't really like that fit as much. I mean, he would fit with the team as another scorer, but I just, when it comes to his age, he's around 27, 28, and the Pelicans, they need to stay young. You need to focus on Zion and B.I. as your main guys. Yeah, I think those are probably the 2-3 teams I would throw out there for Bradley Beal. I'm probably forgetting another team or two because I'm freestyling. Let's see kind of this trade proposal. So the Denver Nuggets, they're going to receive Bradley Beal, and in return, they would give Washington Gary Harris, who's probably, I think he has one more year left of his contract for $12 million. You're going to give up Michael Porter Jr., who's progressed amazingly this season. I know he had 2 seasons he had to sit down because of his injury, herniated disc. He had that microdiscectomy. And back surgeries, man, those are killer. And you've seen, Dwight Howard, when he came to the Lakers in 2013, he had a huge bulging disc. They said like a size of a softball or something. Jeez. But Michael Porter, I'm glad for him. He has a lot of potential. Amazing three-point shooter. He has amazing confidence. He's 6'10". He can handle the rock, shoot from the outside. If you give him around a couple more years to pretty much build even more muscle, more confidence, and being a number 1 or 2 option, I'm saying it here. I think that cat can be either
very similar in tiers of a Jason Tatum or even better. He's got a lot of potential. Monte Morris in the 2020 first round pick and the 2024 pick. If you're the Wizards, I think ideally they may want to run John Wall and Bradley Beal for at least half the season of 2021 if they want to blow it up halfway if they're not doing that well and trade them both, or pretty much try to go for one more final playoff push. Since John Wall doesn't have a lot of trade value right now, you're probably going to have to run the route of the beginning of the season with John Wall and Bradley Beal, and probably want to bring in a third guy, maybe like a DeMarcus Cousins, something like that. Kind of experimenting around. But with the Wizards, if they were to package Bradley Beal, ideally you could have got Tyler Herro, Duncan Robinson, and a couple other picks, if anything like that, earlier this season. But the Miami Heat made the finals. Robinson and Herro are amazing young building blocks, so they're untouchable. So that's out of the equation. If they were to go to the Pelicans are not going to trade Bi or Zion Williamson, so there's makes no sense there. And if they were to trade him to the Lakers pretty much they don't have anything really to offer as a big big time signing. So if anything, this may probably will have to be the route for the Denver Nuggets to send him over to Washington. You're gonna get a pretty much a a franchise star player in the making, Michael Porter Jr. You can build your team off that. You're going to have a fan base that can pretty much build up with him. He has a lot of potential, but we got to see if he's durable or not. It's not a bad trade for Denver on their side of things. I think personally you just keep Michael Porter Jr. He has a lot of potential. And Bradley Beal and Jamal Murray kind of play similar, but Bradley Beal is pretty much more of a scorer. I would keep Michael Porter Jr. with Jokic and Jamal Murray if I'm the Denver Nuggets. You got a bright future ahead with them. You want to keep them together. I wouldn't make that trade if you're Denver. Now, Washington, you may have to make that trade since that may be one of the best ones you can get. But this trade probably needs a little more adjusting. All right, so there's been talks of James Harden to Philadelphia with those rumors. Never bought into that, but let's see what they got here. So the Rockets, they're going to receive Ben Simmons, Julius Randle, Mike Scott, Wayne Ellington, and Dennis Smith Jr. Those already are not good pieces altogether in Houston. Philadelphia is going to receive James Harden, and the New York Knicks will receive Russell Westbrook. Okay, let me kind of think here. I'm going to start from the bottom down. If you're the New York Knicks and you give away Julius Randle, Dennis Smith Jr., and I don't know if Wayne Ellington was part of the Sixers or the Knicks. I think maybe he was part of the Knicks. But pretty much if you're getting away Julius Randle, Wayne Ellington, and Dennis Smith Jr., and in return you get Russell Westbrook, that is a steal for the New York Knicks. I think Russell Westbrook in his career right now, he's got to be a second option if he wants to win a championship. Ideally, I don't like the fit with him and Harden as a point guard and shooting guard. Pretty much 2 point guards that are playing together. Westbrook needs to be with the wing. Better than him, which he's not going to find really that player. But if you're Russell Westbrook, if you go to New York, or if you go into the Eastern Conference, you're going to be an instant star out there. You can pretty much have the New York fans cheer him on. It's going to be electric. I would love to see Russell Westbrook to be a number one option with the New York Knicks. Pretty much lose in the first round, but it'll be electric for them. The 76ers, they will receive James Harden. You got to think about it. If you're Philadelphia and you just have Doc Rivers, do you want to trade Ben Simmons for James Harden, who can only be a number one option for, I think, he can only be a number one option for one more season. I don't want to pair James Harden with Joel Embiid, who clogs up the paint and who's not durable. If you're the Sixers, you have a young stud in Ben Simmons who's around 23 years of age. You do not want to trade that young cat for James Harden, who's 30 years old. No, sir. And if you're the Rockets, if you're going to trade away James Harden and Russell Westbrook for Ben Simmons and a bunch of young cats and veterans, that doesn't make sense. No. If you're Houston, your timeline does not require a Ben Simmons now. If you're talking 3 seasons from now, yes, but With James Harden, Russell Westbrook, you're not going to trade him just for Ben Simmons. I would not do that whatsoever. All right, three-team trade proposal right here: Drew Holiday, Aaron Gordon, and yeah, okay. So the Brooklyn Nets, they're going to receive Drew Holiday and Aaron Gordon. The New Orleans Pelicans, they're going to receive Spencer Dinwiddie, Torian Prince, Jarrett Allen, and the Brooklyn's 2021 first round pick, and the Orlando Magic are going to receive Karis LeVert. So let's start from down up again. If you're the Magic, basically this article is stating that they just give away Aaron Gordon, and in return they're going to receive Karis LeVert. If you're the Orlando Magic, I would not make that trade. Karis LeVert is 25. He's young. He has a promising future ahead of him. He's a great scorer as a shooting guard. He could potentially be a Sixth Man of the Year award winner if he ever were to move down to a sixth man. But I wouldn't make that trade, Aaron Gordon for Karis LeVert, personally for me. Aaron Gordon, I thought he's had a lot of potential. He never even reached. I doubt he's really working too much on his game. That's been impactful. I think the Magic need to let go of Aaron Gordon, but you can get a lot more for him than just a Karis LeVert. But I don't know. Maybe some other fans and cats may disagree on that part. I don't know. I'm not intrigued by it, but it's not too far off. But the Pelicans, so pretty much if they give away Drew Holiday, which I've always wanted them to do ever since the middle of this season, they need to give away Drew Holiday. And it's looking like that's going to be the case. If they were to give him away, and in return they get Spencer Dinwiddie, Torian Prince, Jarrett Allen, and the Brooklyn's 21 first pick, that's not bad. That's not bad. You may have to take that because if you're the Pelicans, if you have a backup point guard of Spencer Dinwiddie, that would be very ideal. You can handle more of the offense since Lonzo was not a scorer like that. And Spencer Dinwiddie would be a perfect sixth man for a team. He can kind of play that Sean Livingston role in Golden State, but more of a scorer. And then, of course, you pick up Jarrett Allen. The Pelicans, they need to let go of Derek Favors or put him to the bench. And Jackson Hayes, he's going to need another 2 years to progress and build up muscle. But if you have a starting lineup pretty much of Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and Jarrett Allen, I mean, that's a great starting five for that franchise. But depending on what coach they get, if you get Mike D'Antoni, then you're going to have to run Zion Williamson probably to the five. You're probably going to have to put Lonzo out there with Spencer Dinwiddie, with B.I., and you're probably going to have to find another wing, like a Jeremy Grant, for example. Yeah, if you're the Pelicans, you could probably get a little better of a trade for Drew Holiday. But besides from that, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jarrett Allen, perfect young cats that fit the New Orleans Pelicans vision. So that'll be a good trade for them. If you're the Nets, you receive Aaron Gordon and Drew Holiday. I would not make the trade if you're the Brooklyn Nets. Holiday is around 30 years of age. I don't know about if his injuries, if anything could happen. He's a cat that needs the ball in his hands to score, and whenever you have Kyrie and KD out there, you pretty much just need 3-and-D type cats. Because Kyrie and KD will give you 30 each every single pretty much average of a night. I would not be surprised if Kyrie and KD both average 30 points per game at least in the 2021 regular season. For example, the Nets need a starting lineup of like a Kyrie, a Karis LeVert, a Kevin Durant, at the 5, DeAndre Jordan, and then at the 4, make a trade for LaMarcus Aldridge or something along those lines. We got Victor Oladipo, another trade rumor name out there. So let's just say him to the Milwaukee Bucks. Basically, Giannis lost in the second round in a gentleman's sweep to the Miami Heat. And this pretty much opened up the whole NBA fans. We expected pretty much Milwaukee to be in the finals. And we kind of put Giannis kind of on a pedestal. You know, we thought he was a lot better than what he was. And we thought since Toronto with Kawhi was done with and out of the East, we pretty much figured that Giannis would take that next step. And that wasn't even the case whatsoever. So they need to bring another star player in Giannis' last year of his contract for a demand to make the finals at least. So their solution here is to receive Victor Oladipo and let go of Eric Bledsoe and Dante DiVincenzo. If you're the Pacers, you definitely make that trade. I do like Dante. He's a young cat, promising role and potential in the NBA for a few more years. And Eric Bledsoe would be ideal. And plus, you can pair up Eric Bledsoe and Malcolm Brogdon back again. So that'll be cool for the Pacers. If you're the Bucks, you do not make that trade for Victor Oladipo. If anything, if you're the Bucks, you go straight forward for Chris Paul. Chris Paul demands a championship, let alone an NBA Finals appearance. And I think Chris Paul with Giannis both fit with 1 year left of their contract and that demand to make the finals at least. You got to go that route. Victor Oladipo was not that cat. He's got injuries, and he's just been on the downfall for the last year. So, Nikola Vucevic to the Golden State Warriors. I've seen this trade proposal a couple times. Let's see what they got here. Them and the Orlando Magic. So Golden State, they're going to receive Nikola Vucevic to fill up that center position. Terrence Ross, who would be an ideal six-man or starting small forward, and Orlando's 2020 first-round pick, which is number 15. The Magic, they're going to receive Andrew Wiggins, Kevon Looney, Jordan Poole, Golden State's 2020 first-round pick, the second, and Minnesota's 2021 first-round pick. If you're the Magic, easily you make that trade. You get the second pick in the draft. You can draft LaMelo Ball. You can draft, Edwards is pretty much going to be taken one by the Timberwolves, but if you're the Magic, you pretty much can draft LaMelo Ball at the number 2 pick. I doubt they go with Wiseman. They already have Mo Bamba that they're going to pretty much build up on his case. So, yeah, you're probably going to go with LaMelo Ball if you're the Magic, which is weird because you have Markelle Fultz, but you may have to move one of them or something like that. But, yeah, if you're the Magic, if you get the second pick, you get Andrew Wiggins, who I could really see him with the Orlando Magic. You can put Wiggins starting at your 2. You have Jonathan Isaac at the 3. Evan Fournier will leave in free agency if that's the case. And with that second pick, you can get LaMelo Ball or Markelle Fultz. I like that a lot for the Magic. That's a really great trade. If you're the Golden State Warriors, you do not make that trade whatsoever. No way that you give away Wiggins, who has a lot of potential at 26 years of age, being your starting small forward. You don't trade him in your second pick, who's probably going to be maybe Obi Toppin, because I know they're looking for a wing. But if you're the Warriors, you do not make that trade for Vucevic and Terrence Ross, because I don't like that at all. No. But that pretty much covers the article here in Bleacher Report. Some intriguing trades. I don't agree pretty much with any of them. But I see the direction where they go with. And kind of my quick predictions, if you're Chris Paul, for example, I think that what makes most sense for him and a role would be for the Milwaukee Bucks. He would get traded to pair with Giannis. And after that, the Los Angeles Lakers, you can make a big 3 of CP3, LeBron, and AD. I think Chris Paul would love that situation a lot more. For Bradley Beal, it's looking like, I don't know, he's in a weird spot. I doubt the Nuggets traded away Michael Porter Jr. for him. They just made the conference finals, so that's a no-go. The Miami Heat are not going to trade their young cats for Bradley Beal. That's a no-go. If you're the Los Angeles Lakers, if you don't get Chris Paul, and if you're just focusing on Bradley Beal for a big 3, you would just have to send a lot of picks. Kyle Kuzma, Danny Green, Caruso, a bunch of kind of young cats